F1's 2024 season will look a lot different to how seasons have started in the past. Two races on a Saturday to start the year off, one in Bahrain and one in Saudi Arabia. Now, there's a very, very good reason for this. Ramadan next year starts on March the 10th. F1 had always planned to have a doubleheader in the Middle East starting, but because of that being on March the 10th, the Sunday, Saudi's race is being held on March the 9th. Now, because of the lead time that teams need to prepare an event, to get their freight over and get their personnel over, Bahrain has to shift a day forward as well. So you've got two races on a Saturday, and that has an added bonus for those two races. The weekend in the Middle East is not Saturday and Sunday like it is in the West. It's Friday, Saturday. So it'll be interesting to see from a local perspective how popular that start is. I think it's something Formula One's quite open to doing in future. Of course, it's something that we'll be seeing later this year with the Las Vegas Grand Prix. That's on a Saturday. That will be the plan as well in 2024 for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. So three races on a Saturday, not sprint races as we've got used to seeing this year, but actual Grand Prix races on a Saturday. So that is the big headline piece from this calendar. But a few quite interesting other little bits as well. Japan and Baku have basically swapped ends of the calendar. Japan, which of course used to be the season finale a long, long time ago, has kind of slowly crept up the calendar. It's been kind of in October time, usually around the time of Singapore. That has now moved up the calendar. It's between Australia and China now. And Baku has moved down to be a doubleheader with Singapore. Formula One feels like that's, from a geographical point of view, is a much more logical way of doing things. There's going to be some questions about the Japan bit of that, because Australia, Japan, and China are three races, obviously geographically fairly close together, but they're happening as standalone races. They've not been doubled up into double headers or a triple header. So Formula One personnel face a pretty gruesome prospect of having three return flights to Asia in the space of about 4 or 5 weeks. The mental and physical toll of Formula One is an ongoing talking point. Obviously, there's a lot of environmental questions as well. Formula One, there's no perfect solution at the moment to the calendar, but what they are moving towards, it seems, is trying to group these races geographically as well as possible. I understand there's some more discussions going on about how to actually make that more environmentally friendly from a freight perspective, from the perspective of actually moving all the parts around the calendar. But at the moment, they're kind of between that and where they want to be. One other little change, there's 3 triple headers on the calendar. Spain now forms a triple header with Austria and Great Britain, which is quite an interesting set of races. And later in the year, pretty crazy way to finish. You've got 2 sets of triple headers. You've got Austin, Mexico, and Brazil. And then you have Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. Of course, Abu Dhabi's been the season finale since 2014. That remains the case. The season starts at the beginning of March, ends at the beginning of December. So a long old year. And if they can get the Chinese Grand Prix on, as they haven't been able to do since 2020, when, of course, it was one of the first events cancelled for the COVID-19 pandemic. If they can get China on, and if we avoid other cancellations like we had with Imola this year because of the flooding in that region, then Formula One should finally have this 24 race season that we've been talking about for a long time. So as it stands, that's what we've got on the calendar. It's going to be a long season, long season. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of questions about how that season's been put together. But I think if you actually look at this from the perspective of other calendars around, it's starting to make a bit more sense. It's pretty gruesome for people working in the sport, especially guys that go to every race, especially some of those guys that, are just working with teams and, traveling the globe as it is. But I think Formula One's very cognizant of that. So it'll be interesting to see what the discussions are in the next few weeks about this calendar and, the toll it's going to have on people.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.